How's it going, everybody? It's Matt again. Today we're going to take a look at another Legend Scale third-party transformer. It's going to be NEWAGE H74 CHO, or their Sixshot. But NEWAGE actually released this like really fast, just kind of out of nowhere, because Magic Square had announced that they were making a Sixshot, and then it was like the week after, it was like NEWAGE announced this thing, and then within a month it was already released, which is kind of crazy. Seems like a bit of a power play, I guess. But I'm going to be getting both the Magic Square, and obviously I have this version, so I can compare them. Just I really like Sixshot. Yeah, so here's the front of the box. Shows off all of his 6 modes, of course. There it is from the bottom. There it is from the side, and the rear, top, all that good stuff. I'll go ahead and set this aside. He also comes with, of course, a set of instructions, and it is a quite large set of instructions because he obviously turns into 6 things, so it's quite a bit. So, instructions aside, he's going to come with a bunch of different hand options. First, we're going to have these 2 kind of open hands. The wrist does pivot forwards and back, and they actually attach on a female connection to the male peg, which is interesting, but there's the 2 hands. And he's also going to come with his drink, his glass of Energon, and a special hand to hold it. It does pop off so you can see the little Energon glass. Put it right in his hand. And he's going to come with his 2 guns, which are nice painted silver with the gray handles. The handles do fold up to reveal a peg so that you can mount these on pretty much all of his modes. So he has 2 of those. That's pretty much it. So let's go ahead and bring him in. He is, of course, packaged in robot mode, but I always like to start in alt mode. But I kind of just picked one because he obviously has 5 alt modes. So here's the first of which is his spaceship mode. There it is. And you can, of course, take his guns and you can peg them in on his wings, like so. Or you can peg them in above if you want. Doesn't really matter too much, I don't think. But there's not really much else to talk about with them. I mean, pretty much all of Sixshot's modes have always been kind of like, if you squint, it's a certain thing. But this is his spaceship mode. I just kind of angled a little bit. The one thing about this I'm not a fan of is there's no real place to plug an action base into. I don't think, anyways. NEWAGE is usually pretty good at leaving like holes to put them in flight stands, but there's nothing for him, unfortunately. So that's a bit of a shame, but it's not too bad. But we'll go ahead and take these back off, and let's go ahead and turn him into another one of his modes. So let's go ahead and turn him into like his truck mode. So we're just going to kind of fold these down, lift these wings up kind of out of the way. And let's see, I am following the instructions because there's just too much to remember on this thing. So we're going to kind of angle these guys down. And then you're going to take on this hinge here, going to open up this kind of teal section here, lift up these 2 little kind of hook parts, and then we're going to fold. Actually, we're going to have to rotate this, pivot these down a little bit to line up with that line there, and then fold the fins inside. Put that hook back down, rotate back up, and close in. Same thing here. Close, close, rotate, and get back in there. Come on. Like so. So, closing those fins back in. And actually, I think I was wrong. So actually, you don't want them to close in this way. You want them to flip up and close onto this. So if you rotate it forwards, it'll peg in like that onto those parts. Then we're going to flip around here, and these 2 little panels here, going to lift them up and flip them down against that part. And then these 2 panels here are going to open up to either side. I might need to get my spudger. There we go. Go ahead and open them up and then flip them around like this. And then these panels here, you're gonna open these up. Everything's kind of coming unpegged. The arms are gonna rotate back around like this. And then I believe these parts up here are going to rotate around like so to face the wheels in the right direction. And then these panels here are going to open, and then this part is going to lift up and then clip down onto that. Open up the wheel, flip it out, clip down onto that, and then rotate just this section here. Rotate it, and then plug it into that purple part right here. Like that. And then the top panels here will just kind of rest on top. Make sure everything is together. Like that. And then the front here, you're going to kind of split and then angle out on this armature. And then you're going to rotate this around and then rotate this around. And then this whole thing should just kind of, right. So it's going to come over like this. Let me think how this, what on earth am I missing here? Let me see. Okay, so I was being an idiot. It literally just has to wrap around this angle here. So it's kind of odd to get it to do it, but you just kind of wrap it around like that. And then pretty much, I don't know why these aren't going together. I see what I was doing wrong. So this little panel here, you need to rotate this so that this little panel, this teeny little thing rotates out, and then rotate that back, rotate that in, and then that little panel plugs in right here, and then that plugs in into that purple piece, and then that just kind of rests there, and then everything just kind of pegs together. And then these come down, and then rotate forwards, like so, and pretty much there is the truck mode. Looks decent enough. 4 wheels, rolls all right. For some reason, these things just keep popping off. I don't know why. It's just like they're not tensioned correctly onto this little purple thing, and then it keeps wanting to split this part. So I don't know why it's doing that, but when it's together, it does roll. It's a little squeaky, but it does. The guns here, you can, let's see how they go. You do if you fold them up, you can peg them into these. No, that's not right. Keep the pegs down, and you can peg them in here and here to kind of give them that complete look, I suppose. But it's all right. It's decent. It's not the most stable thing in the world, but then again, none of Sixshot's alt modes are. But let's go ahead and turn him into one of his other modes. I think we're going to wolf modes next. So let's go to wolf mode now. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to kind of open up these wings again. This time we're going to lift up these panels, unpeg all this. Going to close those 2 little panels back in. Lift this, close up these panels. Kind of just undoing a bunch of stuff that we just did. Rotate these back down. We're going to go ahead and split the legs here. And then let me remember what the next steps are. I believe, let's see, this section, that's right. We're going to go ahead and lift all this up. Open these panels up here. Just kind of leave these back down where they were. We're going to, let me see, kind of take these things here and collapse them up into themselves and peg them into that lighter gray piece here, like that. Just kind of get them out of the way for now. And then we're just going to sort of kind of slide these out on that purple part here, and then just rotate the whole thing around to the front. So just slide them and then rotate all the way around to the front like that. And these panels here, we're going to kind of flip these out onto that. Take these panels and flip them in. Rotate this panel down. Rotate that down. Flip this whole thing in, and it pegs into that section. The purple part will rotate in. Bring that down. Bring that down. Rotate it in. Purple section rotates and bring that part forwards. Should look like this. Basically, we just transform the legs. Move these out, lift these panels up, rotate them up, and put them in that second position once again, like this. And then we're just going to kind of rotate these up out of the way for now. Open up these two side panels here and just kind of lift the legs out. You're going to rotate them at the thigh right here so the feet are facing inwards. Now we're going to flip them around. Open up these two panels, then flip these out. I know that we just put those back in, but whatever. And now we're going to take that down, put these panels in. Sorry, I'm undoing what I just did. Put those back up. Rotate these back in like that. So that now, I've just bumped the camera again, so that now we can move this down and then plug it back in. So now the legs are kind of at this angle, and they're going to rotate them at what's the robot knee. Kind of bring them in and then rotate them down like that. I don't even know if that was on camera, sorry. And then basically we're going to take the front skirt section of the bot and just kind of pull off. It'll split from the front and then rotate around like this. And we're going to kind of just angle this, and these two little tabs will come out from here, and you want them to be stuck at kind of like a 90-degree angle like that, because you're going to rotate this up and bring the robot mode thighs in and then peg them in. If it allows me to, you know, peg it in to the thighs. Supposedly, there we go. Finicky. And then just put those side panels back up, and it should look kind of like this. And then we're just going to kind of rotate this down, and then we want the wheels to be in this orientation. You want to rotate around so that the treads are facing forwards, and then you're going to open up that little panel to have the foot. So around, open up that panel so that the foot is out. And I think it's actually supposed to sit down kind of like this. So then it'll be even with the feet back here, kind of like that. And then we're just going to kind of open up the wings. This panel will open up, and then the dog head will just rotate out and put that in a way that makes sense. Put that panel back down like so, and then just kind of angle the wings however you want. And then the guns can plug in on the sides of the wing tips like that. So there you go. There is the wolf mode, or the winged wolf mode, or whatever you want to call this thing. Looks decent. I mean, I kind of like how the back formed here. I mean, it still doesn't look the greatest in the world, but I like how they at least attempted to do it differently from what I feel like a lot of other companies have tried to do the back, where it's usually just the legs folded down. I'd like that it's at least different. Still doesn't look the greatest, but it's fine. As far as articulation, the head does move up and down on this part, but it's all kind of hollow, so it doesn't really look the greatest. Has another hinge right here for the head, and then the head itself is on a ball joint. You can kind of move side to side a little bit. You can move down, rotate all the way around, up and down, all that. And the jaw does open, which is decent. The arms can rotate all the way around. They can lift up on the shoulders, but not too far just because of the wings. The bicep can rotate around. It can rotate here in the forearm. Double jointed elbow gets that far. And then the toe can pivot on these two different hinges here. The wings also, they can move up and down and move in and out just a little bit. Waist does rotate, of course. The legs back here, they can't really go in and out really at all unless you untab it from here, which I wouldn't really count, but you can rotate them all the way around on that joint if you want to. And then the foot kind of just pivots up and down a little bit, and it does have the ankle tilt that the robot mode will have. So yeah, I mean, it's okay. It's all right. It's probably, I mean, it might honestly be the best version of this wolf mode that we've gotten in any scale. So I don't know, but it's decent. It's just, you know, it's a 6-shot mode. So now let's go ahead and turn him into his tank mode. So we're going to go ahead and pull these guns back off and set those aside. And we're going to kind of undo a bunch of stuff we just did. Open up the wings, open this up, fold the dog head back in, flip this back down, make sure the ears are lined up with that panel, and then just kind of make sure that that can close. Bring these wings back up, close in the dog feet, and then we're going to come back here and lift these panels up, rotate these out, fold those pegs back in, kind of split the legs, and then fold this back up to the other side and peg it back in. And then these are going to rotate this way, unpeg there, rotate them down, peg back in, rotate back up, rotate, rotate, all of that good stuff. Unpeg, bring back up, rotate, bring it back down, basically so we have robot mode legs once again. Now we're going to unpeg from here, rotate back down, plug it back into the gray section like that, so it should look like this. And what we're going to do is going to come back here and open up this panel. We actually need this back out, so flip that, bring this panel back out, flip that back in, rotate that back in, flip that back up, and this time we're going to angle forwards a little bit, and this little groove here is going to come down and fit into that little section there, so it should look like this. So here it is, flip that out, flip that in, that down, that up, that back down, that back down, rotate this up, and peg that in. Complicated, weird, but I mean, you know. Flip this white section out. I'm gonna take a tool to do it. Flip that up, flip that down to have like these little gun barrels. Flip that down and flip that down. Should look like that. And then we're just gonna kind of peg everything together like that. Just make sure it's all pegged together. And then these kind of upper arm sections, you're going to pull on them so they come out in the slider, then rotate them around so the tread's facing down, and then push it back in, and then put the tread down. Same thing here, lift, rotate around, push back in so that the tread is facing down. And then basically we need to just kind of line it up kind of like how we did for the car mode, just kind of lift these up. We want this panel to come out again, here and here, and then you want to rotate this panel out and then turn this so that the treads are facing in the correct orientation. Lift this out and rotate that so it should look like this. And then we're just going to kind of bring them down and then peg this into that section here like that. And you're going to rotate these so these little vents are facing upwards. I'm going to spread the wings and then just bring the kind of cannons, I suppose, up like this, and then flip the wings in, and then the guns, you'll fold the handle in like this, and then they will peg into the sides of these purple parts like so. Like that. And then there we have kind of like the tank or the anti-air gun or whatever you want to call it, all transformed. So it doesn't really roll, it just kind of sits there, but it looks all right, it looks decent. Nothing really moves on this. I mean, this can technically pivot up and down just using the thigh joints, but that's really about it. But I mean, it looks decent enough, I suppose. So let's go to his last alt mode, which is going to be the laser gun. So let's go ahead and turn him into that. Go ahead and unpeg these and set those aside. And then we're going to come back here, flip these back down, move the wings out, bring these back and unplug them from the side panels here and close these two little flaps. And then we're going to, let's see, flip these to this orientation, lift that tread up, lift that up, close it back down, and then you can kind of put the tread back down. This part here, you're going to kind of rotate so you can close the wheel back in. And just going to kind of rotate the whole thing around like that so the wheel is on the outside. So we're going to want to flip it just kind of all the way around. Close that up. And then just rotate this up into kind of like this orientation here. And then going to split the legs. Open up this panel once again, rotate it back to the original position and close that panel back up. Same thing here, open that, original position, close. And then you're going to take the thighs and rotate them in like this, and then rotate the calves back like this and like this, and then peg it all back together. And then just kind of leave it in this orientation. Oops, I forgot to get this part. Lift that up, rotate back. Just kind of close all of it up. It should kind of look like this. And then just going to kind of bring these wings down like this, and then open this section up. And then just kind of bring this panel down like this. And then just peg them into the silver wings here, like that. And then the guns will plug into the same places they did in the anti-air tank mode, like that. And then there you go. There is his laser gun mode. Laser gun. I mean, it's decent. I mean, it's all right. It is, once again, a 6-shot mode. But yeah, so the laser gun mode, pew pew, I guess. But let's turn them into robot mode finally. So go ahead and pull the guns back off and set them aside. The guns here on the bottom of the feet will fold up and then rotate back in. Split the legs, rotate the thighs into the correct orientation. I'm going to go ahead and lift these up out of the way. You're going to fold these panels here that were underneath all the way down now. Hold them all the way down like this. I'm gonna angle these down like this, lift these panels up, and we're going to fold these wing sections out, put these back down, and then we're going to replace that panel up like that and get the arms in the correct position. There we go. Let's kind of get everything lined up and rotate the wheels into like whatever position that you want, I suppose. I usually put them like this. Rotate the elbow joint to the correct position. Rotate these back around. And then this section here, you're going to want to kind of lift the wheel and open. And then the fist will fold out from the side. Put that all back, collapse back together. Same thing here, lift the wheel out, lift that panel up, flip the wrist out, put that all back together, and just kind of put the wings back how they were. This front section will lift out, the head will flip up, and that will close back down. We can separate these parts off the back here, bring that panel back up and put it back there, and then just kind of arrange the wings. And there he is. There is Sixshot. Yeah, lots of moving parts. I mean, it's kind of a fun transformation. It's a lot of repeat steps though. So if you don't really know what's going on, see, like this is, gotta flip that all the way around. I didn't get that all the way, but But yeah, I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world. At least he's solid. I feel like some of the other six shots that I've taken a look at have not been solid, but this one actually does feel kind of solid. So that's nice. And he is a big boy too. But there it is from the face. So you can see his face. It is interesting. So this thing is really not painted at all, which is kind of strange for New Age. I know I didn't really point it out at all. I just kind of jumped into the transformations, but there really is not really a lot of paint on this thing. It's like, let's see, like that's painted. The face is painted. I mean, maybe the joints are painted, like some like little paint apps around here, but like none of this purple, none of the white, none of the teal. It's all just bare plastic except for like the wings and the guns and stuff. So that's kind of weird for New Age. But I mean, this was a kind of a cheap release for what we usually expect with New Age. Usually they're really expensive, especially like bigger figures like this. So it's kind of strange, but he looks the part. I really like his proportions. He's a chunky boy. I think Magic Squares is going to be a little bit more like IDW-ish type of proportions, but this one definitely looks very toon, which isn't necessarily a bad thing in my opinion. But I think he looks pretty darn good all around, and he's really solid too, like surprisingly solid for a six-shot figure. But let's go ahead and, first, before I do anything, let's go ahead and show you can swap his hands out for any of his other choices. Like, oh, it's really tight getting him on there, but there is the open hands, and of course you can do the same thing with his Energon hand. And you can, of course, flip out his guns here, and you can put them in his hands, no problem. Just wanted to show that. But let's go into articulation. So his head is on a ball joint, so it's attached to the back of the head, which means you can rotate way far forwards, go side to side a little bit, not really all that much down, and rotate it all the way around. His wings, of course, can flip down and move out to get out of the way. His front wing panels can move forwards to get out of the way of his arms as well. No butterfly joints, but his shoulder joint does go about that far out just because the top panel does hit the head. You can rotate the arm all the way around. He can rotate above the bicep, and you get a double jointed elbow, but it does not get quite 180 degrees. You can rotate below the elbow too at the forearm, and you can rotate at the wrist. He does have an ab crunch, which is decent enough. You can rotate the waist. The front skirts do move out of the way. The side skirts move out of the way. And guess what? So do the back skirts. Very nice. The legs can go about that far forwards, go about that far back, and go all the way out. Very, very nice. Rotates at the thigh all the way around, rotates at the knee all the way around, and he does have a single jointed knee. Yeah, he has a single jointed knee, which only gets you about 90 degrees. But I guess if you want to cheat, I think you can use this. Lift that panel up, and then you can get about that far, but everything kind of starts to fall apart if you do that. So I don't know if I want to count that or not. And then the foot is kind of loosey-goosey in some of these spots, but I mean, I wouldn't really count that as an articulation point, but it can tilt. You do have an ankle tilt, and you can angle it down if you want to count that, mainly for transformation. But yeah, decent articulation for him. No real complaints. Just a little bit limited shoulder articulation is all, but I mean, I don't think it's really that important. So let me go ahead and clean him up a little bit, and we'll do size comparisons. Okay, size comparison time. So first off, as always, we have a New Age Minibot and a New Age Carbot. And then how about a New Age Constructicon? And we have Magic Squares Optimus and Magic Squares Megatron. So yeah, I think he's like perfect size. Looks just right. I don't have New Age's Octavian or their who am I thinking? Ultra Magnus. I don't have him. I don't have him anymore. I actually don't have any Ultra Magnuses anymore because I'm waiting for the new release of Magic Squares version of Ultra Magnus, but so I don't have an Ultra Magnus to show him next to. I only mention that because that's usually who you see him up against. So, but he is roughly the same size. He's roughly the same size as this Sixshot. And there we have it. That's going to do it for NEWAGE H74 CHO, their Legend Scale 6-shot. And I think that he's a pretty good 6-shot, to be honest. I mean, he's kind of lacking in the paint department, which is kind of weird for NEWAGE. But then again, one of their recent releases, Snarl also was kind of lacking in the paint department as well. So I don't know if we're going to start to see kind of like cheaper products because of less paint from NEWAGE or what, but I don't know. I think NEWAGE is kind of known for their really crazy high quality paint jobs, so I don't know how I feel about that. But all in all, not too bad. I think he looks good enough without like the full paint scheme anyways. I think that the EX or the EX Extreme or whatever that they're doing now, those are like the super high paint version of these guys. So I mean, if you want that kind of stuff, I mean, you'll be happy because they have that version anyways. But I think he's pretty good figure, pretty good 6-shot altogether. All the modes, I mean, they suffer from 6-shot syndrome anyway, so they all kind of look good enough. But I think that this pulls them off decently. But yeah, I think I can recommend him. It's not too bad. I don't really have much else to say about him. But thank you so much for watching. Of course, if you liked the video, I mean, consider leaving a like, subscribe to the channel, or check out some of my other reviews. Of course, linked in the playlist on the channel itself. But if you want to support me, you can become a channel member. There's not really any reason to yet, but if you feel like doing so, I mean, go for it. The best way to support me is going to be through Patreon. That's more for like my Armored Core stuff and 3D print stuff, but you can do that if you're feeling generous. But of course, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks guys, take care. Bye-bye.